never thought of before. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Narcissists were taken aback by the unexpected actions you took. If you enjoyed the content, please show your support by liking, following, and sharing these videos. The key message here is about the unexpected steps you took that caught them off guard. Before we delve into that, let's reflect on your time with the narcissist. What was the nature of the relationship, and how did it make you feel? What lasting changes has it brought about in you? You found yourself in a relationship with a toxic narcissist because you lacked awareness about narcissism, something that isn't typically taught. Initially, you may have believed the other person was simply having a bad day or acting out due to their own issues. Despite not fully understanding the situation, you continued to invest in the relationship. You poured a significant amount of time, money, energy, love, empathy, and even your health into this person, which left you feeling drained and weakened. This happened because you were overcompensating and maintaining a relationship that was fundamentally flawed. Meanwhile, the narcissist had a different agenda, essentially working against you and trying to complicate your life. By recognizing the toxic nature of the relationship and taking unexpected actions, you've started to reclaim your strength and autonomy. Thank you for your continued support, and remember to like, follow, and share if you find these videos helpful. Stay strong and keep moving forward. The cycle of narcissistic abuse occurs when one person gives too much while the narcissist continually takes without boundaries. Narcissists harm everyone and everything they come into contact with. I've observed that narcissists think very differently from others. They handle situations differently, lack self-reflection, and do not hold themselves accountable as you might. Instead, they prefer to exploit others, deplete their resources, discard them when they are no longer useful, and move on to the next target. It's crucial to remember that this new target is typically another unsuspecting individual. The narcissist likely escaped a previous relationship to find refuge with you. Once they have extracted what they want from you, they will move on to someone else who may be equally unaware or even a toxic narcissist themselves. This new victim could be someone from a past relationship, an old friend, or someone the narcissist aims to control again. All these factors contribute to the ongoing cycle of abuse perpetuated by narcissists. It's essential to understand that this cycle will continue as long as the narcissist remains involved. They are aware of their mental limitations, the trap of living a life filled with anxiety, and their constant shifting of personas. Narcissists know they wear masks to manipulate people and sometimes recognize their own inauthenticity. This awareness drives their need to feel superior to others. You didn't know what to expect after leaving the narcissist. Dealing with their Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde behavior was like being on an emotional roller coaster. The nature of your relationship with them was always unclear. Your search for answers led you to look up terms like spouse won't talk to me or verbal abuse, marking your first significant step forward. As your journey continued, you learned more about narcissists and, importantly, about yourself. They never anticipated you would uncover their true nature. They underestimated your intelligence and research skills, just as they did when they first met you. Think back to when you first encountered them. They were likely assessing what motivated you, your strengths, dreams, and how you connected with others. They wanted to present a specific image to you. At some point, they decided you would be their next source of supply. Their goal was to get close to you, whether to make you fall in love or to become friends. However, they had ulterior motives. They intended to deceive, abuse, and control you while hiding behind a false facade. Having done this before, they knew your health and finances would deteriorate during your time with them. They anticipated running out of fuel and finding another source eventually. They believed you would never recover if you tried to leave. However, your journey of discovery and self-awareness has proven them wrong. If you watch the movie again, you'll understand how they knew the abuse would end and how they meticulously planned for it. It's easy to remain trapped in a selfish fog. Can you relate? Feel free to leave a comment below if you've experienced this. Your presence matters. You share a connection with the narcissist because they left you feeling perpetually exhausted and defeated. The narcissist never anticipated that you would heal, understand narcissism, embrace radical acceptance, and recognize your own beauty, wealth, and inner light. They manipulated you into believing you couldn't live without them. This is known as the trauma bond. They pushed you away only to pull you back in, creating an emotional roller coaster that kept you perpetually off balance. You never knew what to expect each time you communicated with the narcissist, whether by phone, text, or email. This instability was intentional, designed to strengthen the trauma bond and keep you under their control. But now you see through their manipulation. Your journey of healing and self-discovery is a testament to your strength and resilience. You struggled with the trauma bond because you were never taught about the ego. It caught you off guard, making it difficult to understand why everything was falling apart, leaving you feeling like an empty shell. The narcissist took over your life, dominating your thoughts day and night. You found yourself taking longer to respond to their texts, stopping whatever you were doing to discuss your plans, actions, and goals. Often, their responses were dismissive. Okay, great, or sometimes nothing at all. Have you been in this situation? Share your thoughts. They belittled you for simply sharing your plans and actions, treating you as an unpaid helper, constantly apologizing and doing excessive work. You continued to feed the narcissist information because you were caught in a loop of narcissistic manipulation and trauma bonding. This was deliberate. You were kept in the dark and manipulated into that position. In that role, your devaluation only worsened as the narcissist grew tired of you. You became an object of their manipulation, a tool they used at will and then discarded like a doll or prize. They would disappear for hours, days, or even whole weekends and relationships, likely seeking new sources of validation and admiration. These sources could be friends, social groups, trips, possessions, or anything that brought them pleasure. While narcissistic supply often comes from romantic partners or friends, it can also come from family members or relatives. The narcissist never anticipated that you would grow strong, learn about narcissism, understand its impact on you, and prioritize your own well-being. Whether you ended the relationship or they did, I empathize with you for enduring such a toxic relationship for so long. You have broken free from the abusive cycle of a narcissist, a feat not everyone achieves. First, it's crucial to find that needle in the haystack, much like discovering a pine needle in the woods or on the ground behind me. This discovery can unlock your future and liberate you from a toxic narcissistic relationship. Narcissists never intended to understand you or support your healing. They didn't want you to break free or realize that toxic narcissists are not who they claim to be. They harm others, hide behind masks, and manipulate them. But you escaped. You are healing, learning, growing, and perhaps even guiding others. You are awakening, gaining strength, and prioritizing yourself over the narcissist's ego. You have freed yourself from the deceit and entrapment of the narcissist. Know this: your narcissist never wanted things to end. They refuse to look inward, take responsibility, or be accountable, which prevents them from providing peace. They believe they are always right and never make mistakes, although they err daily like everyone else. Narcissists struggle to admit their mistakes because they lack clarity, reinforcing their harmful behaviors. They are aware that they alone can break this cycle. Once they have achieved their goals, they will lie, manipulate, and discard people for their own gain. As a result, narcissists rarely maintain long-lasting friendships or partnerships. Children of narcissists often distance themselves because they remember the mistreatment and refuse to be manipulated further. Despite these challenges, those affected can heal and move on, recognizing the past relationship was unhealthy. Narcissists consistently fail in relationships, both current and past, driven by an insatiable need for attention, material possessions, and new lovers. They can never truly be happy, and both you and they know it. They didn't anticipate your recovery. No one believed you would survive that relationship. They doubted your strength to rebuild yourself. They thought you couldn't see through their facade. They didn't expect you to endure being abandoned during a pandemic, undergoing multiple surgeries, facing significant credit card debt, lacking transportation, and feeling isolated. The narcissists launched a smear campaign, causing your support network to withdraw. No one reached out to ask, "Hey, how are you? Would you like to meet for coffee and talk?" Many of us have experienced this. Narcissists act quickly, often hiding or disappearing abruptly. Why? They take what they can without considering the consequences. They wouldn't sit down, drink coffee, reflect, or take responsibility. They can't, because their minds are too fragile. They behave like children, trapped in their own pain, and they wanted to keep you there too. Pay close attention to what I'm saying. Think about being left by someone. Why did it happen? What took place? If someone was selfish and took everything from you, they would find someone else. It's true. What did they do? They left you. That selfish person may have tried to get back in touch from time to time. Don't let them. It's good you didn't reconcile with them. This shows you're strong, healing, and moving forward, while the selfish person has moved on. Everything I'm telling you happened after you were rejected. Recall your lowest point when you were almost at rock bottom. You might have faced incredibly tough times and considered things you never thought you would. But guess what? You made it through a rough patch, learned from it, used your tools, and gave back to the community. You have another day to help others. You're becoming aware that the relationship almost broke you, but it didn't. Selfish people always fail at things like that. I repeat myself throughout this movie because I want you to understand that you are not the same person you were 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years ago. Life is constantly changing. Your energy levels fluctuate daily, weekly, and monthly. Breaking free from narcissists and reducing toxic relationships will improve your well-being. It's crucial to break the trauma bond and understand that staying away from that person is the best course of action. If you can't avoid contact, use the grey rock method or just be boring. Remember, the narcissist didn't believe you could get better. They thought you were weak because you lacked faith, energy, power, money, support, and more. Despite the immense harm they caused, they didn't believe you could succeed. If you faltered, think about why they did it. Why did they decide to look for love elsewhere? They might say you were too weak. Disregard that. Everything negative they said about you was based on their twisted perspective. Narcissists don't want you to heal past, present, or future. You need to understand this. They want to hide their dangerous nature from you. Once you see through their mask, you set boundaries. Your focus shifts from pleasing others to making your voice heard. You confidently say no, which is a powerful word. By saying no, you show that you value yourself. When you reject narcissists, they flee. They can't handle rejection. They can't dominate. One of their responses might be anger. Your strength lies in being able to say no, uncovering the truth, and recognizing that the relationship taught you valuable lessons. You had no other choice. If you've been through bad relationships, remember that escaping the cycle of narcissistic abuse has made you stronger. You're very strong now. Whether you're thriving or still healing, know that you have support. The narcissist didn't think you'd get better, but you have. Let this be your first step toward full recovery. If you enjoyed what I've written, please remember to like, share, and follow. Your support can truly brighten my day. Consider contributing to help me create more videos to inspire you on your journey to becoming your best self. Thank you for listening, and take care. This is a worrying condition that narcissists get worse with age. Today, let's delve into the intriguing topic of how narcissism evolves with age, as we explore 7 key indicators of deteriorating behavior. But before we embark on this journey, take a moment to reflect on your own teenage and early adult years, a period characterized by growth, learning, and inevitable missteps. In stark contrast to the natural process of maturation, aging narcissists often amplify their negative traits, leading to a regression in both their personal relationships and overall life. From forsaking love to grappling with fractured relationships, these red flags serve as stark reminders of this regression. If you find this discussion enlightening, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell for future updates. Let's take a moment to reflect on our own journey before delving into the intricacies of this topic. Consider your teenage years or the onset of adulthood. Can you honestly claim to have navigated that period without a stumble or a misstep? Were you always impeccably sensitive, right and flawless in every thought, word, and deed? It's unlikely. Most of us recognize that during those formative years, we were still in flux, evolving, and maturing. Moreover, scientific research tells us that the human brain doesn't reach full maturity until around the age of 25. During adolescence, it's common for individuals to exhibit selfish and demanding behaviors. However, we refrain from labeling them as narcissists because they're still in the process of development. We hold on to the hope that as they progress into adulthood and navigate life's experiences, they will cultivate virtues like kindness, honesty, respect, and compassion, a process we commonly refer to as maturation. Contrary to this trajectory, narcissists tend to exacerbate the very traits that define their narcissism as they age. Instead of evolving positively, their behavior often deteriorates over time. They become increasingly controlling, selfish, arrogant, and less attuned to the needs of others. Their defensiveness intensifies, and their distorted perception of reality becomes more entrenched. Today, we'll explore 7 telltale signs indicating a deepening selfishness, signaling a departure from emotional maturity in both personal relationships and broader contexts. As narcissism deepens with age, one of the initial indicators to watch for is the narcissist relinquishing the notion of love. Initially, they may feign care and affection, whether in intimate relationships, friendships, or within familial circles. Even in professional settings, they might exhibit a facade of camaraderie, underscoring the importance they place on maintaining favorable relationships. However, as narcissists mature, their focus shifts from nurturing bonds with others to accruing power. Their demeanor adopts a dictatorial, controlling, and authoritarian tone, treating those around them as mere subjects under their dominion. This shift underscores their inflated sense of self-importance, replacing genuine love with a domineering demeanor that reinforces their belief in entitlement. A subsequent red flag indicating the exacerbation of narcissism is the narcissist's inability to glean insights from their past mistakes and adversities. Reflecting on their history, one can discern a recurrent pattern of failed relationships. However, rather than introspecting and contemplating their role in these shortcomings, narcissists adopt a victim mentality, deflecting accountability onto external factors. They rationalize their missteps by attributing them to others' misunderstandings, disagreements, or inherent differences. This dichotomous thinking, devoid of nuance or introspection, fuels their narcissistic tendencies, leading to increased displays of contemptuous behavior, such as hurling insults and derogatory remarks at others. A conspicuous hallmark of their escalating narcissism is their reluctance to engage in self-reflection and critical analysis, particularly evident in their failure to learn from past errors. In the third indication, we observe how narcissists consistently evade acknowledgement of their shadow self. This shadow self represents the aspects of one's history fraught with mistakes, misjudgments, or unresolved traumas. It encapsulates experiences that may evoke discomfort or pain. However, narcissists typically exhibit reluctance to confront these facets of their past. Even when confronted with their shadow self, especially if it triggers feelings of anger or indignation, they adamantly refuse to engage with it. This aversion fosters inner turmoil, contributing to emotional instability and hindering their ability to foster meaningful connections with others. Their steadfast denial of the need for introspection regarding these painful aspects of themselves serves as yet another testament to the exacerbation of their narcissistic traits. The fourth indication highlighting the deepening narcissism pertains to their steadfast refusal to acknowledge their own humanity. Consequently, they meticulously craft an image of themselves characterized by superiority or flawlessness. They uphold idealized notions of self-perfection and strive to project an aura of superiority over others. Maintaining this elevated status becomes paramount to them, often at the expense of those around them. Moreover, they wholeheartedly embrace their distorted self-perceptions, firmly convinced of their inherent superiority. In essence, they internalize these delusions, steadfastly denying the possibility of standing on equal footing with others. The fifth indication pointing to the worsening state of a narcissist is their inclination to gather around themselves a cohort of subservient individuals, often referred to as their flying monkeys. They actively seek out individuals whom they perceive as easily dominated or those who unquestioningly agree with their viewpoints. A distinct characteristic of narcissists is their disdain for diversity of thought. They recoil from the notion that someone or a group might possess differing perspectives. Rather than embracing diversity as a means of intellectual enrichment and personal development, they gravitate towards those who echo their own narrow-minded views. Consequently, they stagnate in personal growth and fail to evolve, opting instead to exert control over those who share their singular mindset. This proclivity to encircle themselves with like-minded individuals, coupled with their aversion to diversity, serves as yet another unequivocal indicator of the deterioration of narcissistic traits. The sixth sign indicating a worsening state of narcissism lies in how narcissists handle the fallout of their deteriorating relationships. As the relationships inevitably crumble, they resort to self-serving rationalizations to absolve themselves of blame. They are adept at employing convoluted reasoning to justify their actions. For instance, if their mistreatment, excessive criticism, unavailability, or passive-aggressive behavior leads to a string of failed relationships, they deflect blame onto others. They might assert, "I simply chose someone who was weak," or "that person had too many insecurities and issues." By shifting responsibility in this manner, they refuse to acknowledge their own role in the breakdown of relationships. When confronted with their accountability, they swiftly deflect, insisting, "It couldn't possibly be me." They cling to certain beliefs about themselves and others, using them as justifications for their distorted perspectives. In truth, they struggle to be honest with themselves, often resorting to self-deception to uphold their distorted self-image. This inclination to rationalize failed relationships in self-serving ways serves as a glaring indication of the deepening of narcissistic traits. The seventh indicator pointing to the worsening of narcissism with age lies in their penchant for keeping others on the defensive. They've become adept at using defensive tactics as a means to assert dominance and cast themselves in the right light. They resort to accusations, shaming, and guilt-tripping to paint you as someone hiding something or burdened with numerous issues. Unlike most, they don't approach interactions with the assumption of shared humanity, a point we've already explored. They lack empathy for your human experience and instead strive to put you on the defensive. While you're busy justifying your actions or crumbling under their scrutiny, they skillfully position themselves as the superior party in the dynamic. Upon reflection, it's evident that as individuals transition from adolescence into adulthood and beyond, there's potential for personal growth and maturation. However, in the case of narcissists, not only do they fail to evolve and mature, but their narcissistic traits become deeply entrenched. A fundamental aspect of this stagnation is their refusal to disentangle themselves from maladaptive traits. Instead, they persistently shift blame onto others and evade accountability. This pattern of behavior becomes increasingly exaggerated over time, transforming them into caricatures of themselves and tragically embodying cruelty in its purest form. If you notice these behaviors, especially as you progress into adulthood or interact with individuals entering their senior years, it's important to recognize that it's not your duty to reform them. Maturity is an internal journey, and while you can share your perspectives and how their actions affect you, it's unrealistic to expect that you'll be the catalyst for change in their behavior. Moreover, don't buy into the notion that their faults are somehow your responsibility. These individuals lack fundamental empathy and are unwilling to develop deeper connections with others. Instead, they cling to an idealized self-image, refusing to confront their own shortcomings. When navigating the complexities of dealing with a worsening narcissist, a vital lesson to grasp is the significance of self-preservation. Recognizing that you can't alter someone who fails to acknowledge their behavior can spare you from considerable stress and disillusionment. Prioritize your mental well-being and inner peace above all else. Understand that it's not your responsibility to mend them. Your duty lies in safeguarding and nurturing yourself. Those whose narcissism escalates are not the pillars of reliable connection or sources of positive influence. Instead of seeking guidance or inspiration from them, focus on discerning genuine maturity. True growth transcends the illusionary and self-serving mindset characteristic of narcissists. I encourage you to remain steadfast on your path of personal evolution. Avoid expending excessive energy attempting to convince the narcissist to change, at the risk of neglecting your own growth. You wield the greatest influence over your own journey. Embrace your autonomy as a fully fledged adult, committed to continuous self-improvement. Despite encountering narcissists along the way, may your journey lead you to perpetual growth and inner tranquility.